So everybody, today I'm going to be teaching you guys JavaScript through my crash course. Let's get into it. So, actually, before we start, I want you guys to know I'm not going to be covering any ES6 in this video. I will be making a separate video, a lot smaller than this, talking about that. And yeah, so let's get into it. So what is JavaScript? JavaScript is a high-level programming language that runs in the browser. It also runs on servers, and you can also run on Node.js. So if you don't want to run you don't want to run JavaScript on the browser, you can also do basic coding with JavaScript on Node.js. So why was JavaScript made? It was made to make websites more interactive. Like JavaScript can handle button clicks and form submissions beautifully. Next, why should you learn JavaScript? It's very easy to pick up. I think it's a great starter language, to be honest, and it makes making user faces really easy because you can use frameworks such as React that are made for JavaScript. You can also make mobile apps really easily with JavaScript by learning React Native. And desktop applications also become a lot easier with JavaScript once you learn some React. Electron, sorry. And now let's talk about the setup. So, first thing you need to do is get a code editor. Now, my three preferred code editors are VS Code, which is right here, VS Code, Atom, and Sublime Text. Now, today's video I am going to be using VS Code because there are some extensions we're going to need to install, but honestly, you could use either three and still figure out a way to work around. So, now, before we get started, actually, we need one more thing. We need to get Node.js. So, you can pick up Node from their website right here. Well, I don't know where it's open. Right here. Install the LTS, and you can read more about Node here. But the download we want is the LTS right here. So let's get into it. Now we're gonna start coding. Before we start coding though, guys, if you do enjoy today's video, please leave a like down there and subscribe to the channel and get notifications so you can see all my new videos that come out. Now let's get started. So first what we're gonna do is we're gonna open up our code editor right here, and we're gonna create a new folder. So I recommend creating a folder for the entire course, and I made a folder right here. I call it JavaScript series. And so let's start. First, what we're gonna do is open up your terminal. So you go up here, you can open up a new terminal, and then what you're gonna want to do is create a new file, and we're gonna call this index.html. And then we're gonna create another new file called app.js. These are standard naming conventions for HTML files and um, JavaScript files. So first thing I want to teach you guys to do is how to use JavaScript in the browser. We're only going to run through briefly. We're going to use Emmet to preload some code here. Boilerplate code. We're going to change this to my app. And then the way you add JavaScript to a web browser is there's two ways. Either you can use the script tag to write JavaScript directly in. So first thing I'm going over is the basic console.log. When you type in console.log, and parentheses and single quotations, you can type a message in between like hello world, and then when you open your HTML file, you'll see it in the console. So this is our first extension we're going to use today, and it is live server. So live server is an extension to run HTML files live and have the changes happen instantly. So you're going to want to download that extension, restart VS Code, and you're also going to want to go to the settings area. So the preferences actually, one second. And you're going to want to turn on the auto reload section. So I have autosave, and it's after a slight delay of 1 second. So you're going to turn that on so then you won't have to constantly save your file and then view it. So we got the console.log here. We're going to right click and open with live server. It's going to open it up. Here we are. So a console.log statement comes to the console, and you can view it by inspecting the page and then going to console, and you can see hello world right here. Let's say you want to change that message. let's say we changed it to hello YouTube. Okay, now we'll go back and now reload it to hello YouTube. So that's really just a little bit of what we're going to be doing in the browser today. But most of our code, we're first like teaching you guys the basics. We're going to do it in a plain JavaScript file. So let's get into that. We just get rid of this index.html file because we are not going to want to use this. Get rid of that. Cool. That's gone. Now, we're going to try the same thing, the console.log statement. Console.log. We're going to log hello world again. And now to run this, what we're going to want to do is, first of all, you can see I'm already inside of the folder where my file is located. We're just going to want to run node and then the file name, so app.js. That's going to run whatever code's inside the file. As you can see, we got our output right there. I'm just going to show you this one more time with another console.log statement. And here type in hello. I don't know. And that should work. There you go. So now we're going to move to the next part where we talk about variables. And we're going to continue in the regular app.js file, and we're going to be using Node for the rest of the video. We are going to jump back near the end of the video into the browser to talk about browser-related functions with JavaScript. So let's get into it. Okay, guys, let's get into variables. So before we start variables, I want to teach you guys about something really useful in JavaScript. As you have a lot of code, you're going to be having trouble figuring out what code does what. So if you double slash, you can type in anything inside of a JavaScript file as a comment. So let's say I didn't know this console, what the code above me was. I could be like, these are my two console log statements. Beautiful. So now let's get into variables. So when you're writing variables, there are three ways to declare variables. There is the var way, so you can type var, then the variable name. Let's say I want to do my variable equals, and then I'm going to make equal to hello. Okay, there's var, then there's also const, and let's make this my, actually let's make this my variable 2. Let's make this equal to hello as well. Okay, and let's do our next one, which is going to be let my variable 3 equal hello again. Okay, so var was the standard way to declare variables. I knew I said I wasn't going to go over ES6, but I am going to go over this one variable concept because I think it is really important and it should be a standard JavaScript thing, not ES6. So const, when you declare a const variable, you're saying that the variable cannot change. It stays constant. So whatever the variable is declared as, it cannot change. A let variable is a variable that you can change. So what I mean is, let's say I declared let as hello here, right? And then to console.log a variable, we do console.log, and then instead of surrounding the variable name in quotations, we only say the variable name. So my variable 3. Okay. Now the thing is, when the reason we surround like plain text in quotations is because in JavaScript, plain text is known. It's basically a type of value, and that type is called a string. So all plain text like this is a string. This is a variable, and this variable is equal to this string. Okay. And also with numbers, it's really interesting. If you put a number between quotations, it is now a string. So it is known, it has a value of a string. But if you put a number like this, then it's a number. It's really weird, but we'll get more into it after. So here, let me just type hello. Okay, my variable 3. And now what we're going to do is let my variable 3 equal 5. So what I'm doing here is I'm first declaring the variable name as hello. My variable 3, I'm giving it the value of hello. And then I'm console.logging it, and then I'm changing it. And I'm going to console.log it again. Console.log variable 3. My variable 3. Okay. Now we're going to run this to show you guys what I mean. So, one second. Oh, it says my variable 3 has already been. Okay, so perfect. That's my mistake. What you're supposed to do is not let my variable. You're supposed to have my variable equals 5. So you're saying you're changing it to 5. Now let's try that again. There you go. So first we get the log of hello and then 5. But you might be thinking, well, it's the same variable. How come you changed it? Well, let variables are, you can change the value. Const variables, however, you cannot change the value. So let's change this to 2, 2, and 2. And now we have the value of hello, and now we're going to changing it. And you can see we're going to get an error. There you go. Assignment to constant variable. So what that means is we've assigned the value of hello to a constant variable. We cannot change the value after. And var was introduced. It was the first type of variable introduced. It was introduced before constant let. Constant let came in ES6. So that var is just like let. You can change it. So we can just try that really quickly to show you guys my variable. And now let's get into it. This should be fun. Yeah, hello and then bye. Now, I recommend you either use const or let because most time you know what you want. Var is kind of outdated, but you can still use it. It doesn't make much of a difference. But I would definitely recommend using const and let. Now, let's talk about variables and numbers. So let's say I made a new variable, const, const, and I'm going to call my variable my age. Now, as you can see, even in the last section, I made the second number, so like the second word, the first letter capitalized, because you can't have spaces in variable names. That's something interesting to know. You also can't have variable names that start with a number, so like 1 my age. That's not, you can see again, this squiggly line. That's not allowed. So, const my age, we're going to set it to equal to I don't know, 32, okay? And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna console.log this. But we're not gonna just console.log it regularly, we're gonna do string interpolation. So what string interpolation is when you combine a string with a variable basically. So we'll do console.log and we'll do my age is, I know we're gonna do plus, sorry, not plus, my age, and this should work. Let's give it a try. There you go. My age is 32. Now you see there's no space in between the variables. This is printed right next to this. So if you want a space to be there, we can add a space right there. Print it again. My age is 32. Okay, so that is string interpolation. Now let's talk about how we can use strings, different types of data types. So there are, I think, I'll go through them and we'll talk about them. There is, okay, so there's age. So there's the number data type. So let's equal to like 12. Then there is the string data type. So one more thing to go over again, just to make sure you guys understand. When you put a number between those two quotation marks, it's no longer a number, it's now a string. And the string has a number inside of it. It is a string though. So we'll make a string now. Okay. And then there are booleans. So booleans are true or false basically. Equals, say false. These don't have to be surrounded by quotations or else they become a string as well. False, true, so that's true. And what else is there? There are also, so you can also set values. Let's say you have a variable, you can set it to the value of null, which basically means undefined. So const variable equals null. That's another option. So there's the main four, I would say, data types that we're going to focus on. And yeah, so now what I want you guys to do is make a console.log statement with string interpolation, and I want you, I mean, not string interpolation, sorry guys, I think I've been calling that string concatenation, that's what it's called, non-interpolation, concatenation, and I want you guys to make a basically console.log a string with your age, your name, and your last name, and I want you to create 3 variables for each value. So create a age value, an age variable, a name variable, and a last name variable, and then create a console.log statement with all those things. So I'm going to give you a minute to pause and try that. Go ahead. Okay, so I hope you guys had great success in that. Now I'm going to go through and let's do it together. So first we're going to create a name variable. So my name, then we'll create a age variable. My age, and actually we have to choose first name and last name, so I'll make it first name. Another one, it's gonna copy and paste this and then change first to last. Last name. Okay, cool. Last. Okay. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna equal this to, and then we're gonna do my last name, and then we're gonna do my age. Okay. Now we got everything there. We're gonna do a console.log. Now what should we do? Let's do so 1 second. Okay. My first name is, and then we'll do plus. Make sure you have these spaces between the quotation and the plus. Then my first name plus, and we're gonna have to have another, we're gonna have another quotation, another set of quotations here. That's gonna be, my first name is comma, my last name is space. We're gonna have another plus here. Okay, and now what we're gonna do is add the last name variable. So my last name, I hope you guys are following along and understanding. And then quotation, comma again. My age is, and now we're gonna do this one more time. Oh, I forgot the plus here, guys. You guys probably caught up before I did. Add the plus right there. Okay, and now last thing we have to add is the age. My age. Okay, there we go. So now this should work. We have everything here. We're gonna check console.log in this. And there we go. My first name is Hardik. My last name is Gupta. My age is 15. There we go, guys. I hope it worked out for you. If it didn't, I would say restart. Try again. I think you guys should be able to do it. Pretty simple. And yeah, if you guys are having any other issues with like your terminal not working or something, then let me know. Also, if you guys are on Windows, you may or not have an issue with your terminal. If you do, try getting this terminal right here. Open it up. Try installing git bash. Git bash should solve your problems. It's basically a terminal for Windows because CMD does not work out that well, and it brings you an amazing terminal, and it should work perfectly with Node and everything. So if you are having issues, definitely try that out. Anyways, So now let's get into the next part of the video. And I'm pretty sure we're going to be discussing functions next. So actually we'll discuss, if else statements next, and we'll get into functions. So I'll see you guys there. Hey guys, here we are in the next part, which is functions. Sorry, not functions, if else statements. So let's get into it. So if else is basically a way, if else statements are a way you could add basically conditional logic to your program. So you could basically tell your program how to make decisions based on a set term. So I'm gonna delete this code here first. Just get rid of all this. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna start off with something really basic. So the way you write an if else statement is you write if, and then you have a parentheses, and then you write a check basically inside of that. And what the program does when it runs through the program, it checks if whatever is inside these parentheses is it follows the condition you set. So let's say I want to write if 1 is bigger than 2, which is not, then do we write these curly braces. Then I want you to execute whatever code is inside this little block. So I'll write console.log. Alright, false. And the way we know that this is I can't write just false here. I have to write the quotations around it because I'm not printing false to console. I'm printing the word false in a string format. So now that it does that check, we can run our program. There you go, false. And now what we can do is we'll write. There's another variable you can add called else, meaning you could have your statement check if something is true, and if it's not, automatically have the program do something else. So we know that's not true. And if let's say it wasn't true, then we know that of course there is a problem because we know for a fact that 1 is not bigger than 2. So we'll write console.log error, and there we go. And now let's do like 3, just for an example. Error. There we go. Now there's one more thing I want to show you guys. If you have a situation where like you have if, and then you want to check if another possible situation is like occurring, and then go to else, what you can do is there's another a option called else if, and then you add another set of parentheses like so, and then here I could write else like this, and that works out fine. So what we do here is if so here we'll check if 1 is bigger than 2, and if it's not, then what we're going to do is check if 2 is bigger than 1. And now here we can have console.log log error because we don't want to come here unless there's literally error. Try this. Okay, so of course this is really good to show you guys. The way this program works is it doesn't check, oh, 1 over 2 is bigger. No, that's not how it's working. I just want to show you guys that. It checks whatever, like it logs the first thing and then it goes second thing. The only way you can have it switch to else if is if this turns out to be like incorrect. So I'll show you guys with variables. So let's say I'll create a new variable, const new var equals, and I'll make it equal to true. I'll get rid of this. Also, if you have a variable and you want to check if it's true or false, you can literally just write the variable name in it, or you can write true. Oh, yes, the check marks. Not check marks, sorry, the equal signs. So in JavaScript, as you can see, one equal sign assigns, um, is an assignment operator. So it assigns the value of this to the variable of this. Two equal signs is not widely used by me, but it's supposed to be like a check, like if this is equal to this. Triple check marks is the same thing. Triple equal, sorry, is the same thing. I use that the most, like new var is equal to true, and there's also stuff like um less than, equal to or greater than or equal to, like this. You can do that too, and yeah, and there's also one more, which is uvar. So if I put an exclamation point here, that basically means if new var is false, it means the opposite of whatever the value of the variable is. So yeah. Anyways, so if new var is true, console.log true. Else if, so actually I'll show you with something else, guys. 1 second. With the season, and we'll make the season fall. If season is equal to summer, console.log the season is summer. This is going to be a simple program to check what season it is. Now we'll do fall here. Else if season equals fall. And then else, I don't know what the season is. Don't know what the season is. Okay. Oh, wait, I forgot something. There we go. Okay, let's give this a quick test, guys. Okay, let's see what the issue is. Okay, this is also really good. So the variable season was created after the if else, so we just gotta make sure that comes like comes before. Here we are. There we go. The season is fall. Let's change this to summer really quickly, and then let's go quickly. Summer, perfect. Just to make sure, let's make it something random that we haven't added, like winter. I don't know what season is. Perfect. So this is basic if-else statements, guys. I hope you were able to understand pretty well. But just before we move to the next section, I want to do a quick mini project, assessment, whatever you want to call it. What I want you guys to do is create an if-else statement, but I want you to create it about what day it is. So I have a variable called current day. Set it to Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, and then create an if-else statement that checks if the day is Monday, you have to do this. If it's Tuesday, you have to do this. If it's Wednesday, you have to do this. And if it's none of them, create that. And then I'm gonna go ahead and create out my own. So I'm gonna give you guys a second to pause and quickly create that. And go ahead. Okay, now that you guys are back, I hope you were able to create it. Let's get into it. So first thing I'm gonna do is we're gonna create a variable called const day of the week equals, and we're gonna set this right now to Monday. Yeah, Monday. Now let's start with our if else statement. If day of the week equal to Monday, then I want you to do whatever. I'm just writing up some boilerplate code right here, guys. I feel like that's the best way to start writing code. But yeah, so if you guys were able to do this, that's pretty good, because that means you're gonna be able to do more advanced things. It's not that hard to understand this, but sometimes you have a little trouble on your first time. But yeah, if you were able to do this, that's really good, guys. I definitely recommend practicing it more. You know, practice makes perfect. Okay, so we have this here. Now we're gonna do one more else if. And yes, guys, you can do unlimited amount of else if statements. There is no limit, like literally no limit. But yeah, mostly though, you're gonna learn about a concept later in JavaScript called dry programming, which means don't repeat yourself. And usually in that case, we don't love to use else if statements if they run through a lot of stuff. So it just depends. Certain situations, else if is like amazing for. But yeah. Okay. Here we go. We have our else if statements. We just need to create one last. Okay, perfect. So now we're gonna do if it's Monday, console log. Um, actually, guys, I just learned a cool trick to do so. Bringing in the last challenge of this challenge with variables. If you remember string concatenation, what we can do here is we could, to make our lives easier, we could do today is, and then we could do, one second, today is plus, and we could do string concatenation here, we could do day of the week, okay, plus, and now here we got our task. Today's Monday. I have to take out the trash. Okay, there we go, we got that. Now what we're gonna do is we're simply gonna, oh, that should not be equals. There we go. Now what we're gonna do is copy this. Actually, let's copy this whole thing. Just gonna paste that here. And I really recommend you indent your code well. It's really, you want your code to look good so you can have it more readable. That right here. Hope we don't want that. Okay. And we just gotta change a few things. So I have to study for a test. And I have to take a nap. Okay, perfect. Now we're gonna console.log this. We're gonna run it. Today's Monday. I take out trash. Beautiful. Now let's change this to Tuesday. Okay. Today is Tuesday. I have a test to study for. Now click last one. Wednesday. Wednesday. Okay. And done. There we go. So as you can see, the program is working perfectly, and you guys have just finished up learning if else statements. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys were able to finish the challenge. I'll see you in the next section, which will be functions. See you. Okay, guys, welcome back, and now we're going to be working on functions. So this is the fourth last section, I guess you could say, of our JavaScript crash course today. I'm just going to go ahead and delete all this code right here quickly, just like that. And before we start, I want you guys to know what what sections we have remaining. So we're going to go over functions, then we have to go over objects and arrays, and then we're gonna go over some of those. Pardon me. Sorry, my voice. We're gonna be going over some web things, some DOM manipulation. So let's get into functions. So the way functions work are they basically, this is basic function syntax. You write function, and then you give your function name, like I'll say add one can be my function name, and then I'll have a set of parentheses and a set of curly braces that open like that. So what you do in a function is basically you can have, first you have to have a return statement. So this is something that, like, whatever happens to the function, it has to be an return statement because this is what's returned to Java, like JavaScript. And then in here, and there's just something we can write. I don't know. Let's do console.log. I am a function. Sorry, guys. Function, and I've been returned. Okay, we got that. And now what we have to do to use the function is we have this thing called calling the function. Oh, actually, we'll just skip that. Okay, so no, wait, 1 second, guys. I'm gonna go over the use of, like, how to use apostrophes and stuff to, like, you have to escape the letter basically. But I don't want to go over that this lesson. We'll talk about that next lesson. And yeah, so let's, okay. Now what we have to do is call the functions I was talking about. What you have to do to call the function is you write the function name, add one, and then you have to have parentheses. And what you're doing is, like, imagine you putting your hands in the shape of the two parentheses over your mouth. You're calling the function. That's why I like to think about it. Now I can run this. What do we get? Log is not defined. Oh, I had a comma here. Mistake. And now let's try that again. I'm a function and I have been returned. There you go. So n1 was called. And now to show you something more interesting, functions can have these things called parameters. So let's refactor this. Let's say instead of having a function that was talking about like just a random function like this, let's have a function that's kind of like a calculator. Okay, so let's do so what we do for that is we have to have these things inside the parentheses called parameters. So these are variables or things that have not been defined but will be defined when the function is called. So I can type in here num1, comma, so that's the first parameter, and num2, I'm sorry, 2. So these are my two parameters now, two things that I will be using inside the function. And all I can do is in here I can do num, oh, I can do console.log num1 plus num2. So as you've guessed, what this should do is it should add two numbers. But we haven't declared those yet, and how are we supposed to do that? Good question. All we have to do is when we call the function, add 1, in the parentheses, the first variable will be declared in the first section, and the second one, second section. You can declare as many as you want here. Like I have a number 3. As many variables you want, you can declare them all here. Anyways, so what we do is for num1, let's say I wanted to do 3 plus 7. There we go. We have 3. So num1 becomes 3 and num2 becomes 7. If I make 4, then num1 becomes 4. Now we can do, you can run this. There we go, 10. So I want to change this to 5. Oh, sorry guys. Ignore that. Ignore that. Sorry about that. Okay. Right here. There we go. So now you can see why functions are really useful. Now let's get into a use case scenario where we combine functions and if-else statements. So let's say that instead of making a small add one calculator, let's say I wanted to make a function. Let's say I had a assistant, okay? And my assistant, let's say it was a robot, okay? And the way it would get its instructions on what to do for me would be through JavaScript. So let's say I like to drink coffee every day, and I like to get coffee from a coffee spot, like the robot knows where I like to get my coffee from, but I like to get specific orders. Like there's always a different day I want a different order. So I can set up an if-else statement inside of a function, and then have that run to let him know what coffee I want. So what I would do in this situation would be I would cut this out, and then we're going to create some parameters. So first, we're actually just going to create one parameter, and that's going to be um, drink. Yeah, it's just going to be drink. So that's the parameter because I want to drink. So now what we're going to do is before the return statement, actually, we're going to type in our if-else statement because we do not want our if-else statement to be returned. We only want the output of the if-else statement to be returned. Actually, no, sorry, ignore that comment completely, guys. We're going to type our if-else statement into a string. Let's get into it. So if, alright, I'm going to explain in a second why. So we'll do if, so I know there's a couple of drinks that I like and that I would like to get. Let's define a few of those. So let's create some variables down here actually. Let's do, no, not var, const, let's say I want plain coffee equals, oh, sorry about that guys. Why am I having so many, sorry guys, early in the morning I'm having, okay, coffee equals, make a string, coffee, cool. I'll have const, say maybe I want tea equals tea. Maybe I want milk tea. I know it's early in the morning. Const milk tea equals tea. Now the reason I didn't uppercase the first word of the second letter in this scenario is because it's a specific item. So in that case, I didn't feel like it's necessary to. If you guys want to, go ahead. But in this situation, I didn't feel like it's necessary. Now let's go back to our if-else statement. Let's set that up. So um, if drink is equal to coffee, one second guys. So if drink is equal to coffee, I'm getting some squiggly lines and I don't know why. Huh. Expression expected. Hmm. 1 sec, guys. Okay. Let's just carry on and see what happens. Let's get to live debug. I feel like you guys can see the issue. Okay. If drink equals coffee, then we wanted to console log. Okay, we wanted to console log. I want coffee. Actually, instead of writing coffee here, we could just write what's it? Actually, no, we need coffee. Sorry. Because yeah, we could coffee. Actually, we could write drink as well here because the drink would be whatever variable. but I'm not sure I can understand the issue with the code. And I think wherever it is, it's important. Let's try taking our if else out. I still have that there. Okay, and then what we'll do is yeah, we'll do this, and then we'll add the return statement later. Okay. And then else if the drink is equal to T, I want you to console.log on T. We'll do one more else. So now we know that if it's coffee, it'll get coffee. If it's tea, it'll get tea. Now we have two options here. We could either write else milk, get me milk tea, or we could write else if. Now the reason we write else is to be very specific, and then we could write else at the end to say, oh, like if if I write something random, what to do in case of that. But it'll have to you, but I recommend writing else if because of course it lets you avoid issues in the program. If drink equals milk triple equals, then I need space milk tea, then I want you console.log I want milk tea. Cool. So now what we're gonna do is just write our simple else statement. That'll come in right here actually. Else console.log I want something new. Cool. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to be returning the output of whatever it is. Actually, what we can do is I'll try removing the return statement. Let's copy that out. Okay. Also, this code right here, all these variables, of course, I think you already know this, but um, they have to be declared before the function. I think you guys know that though. It's pretty simple. And all we'll do is we're gonna call the function add on, and now we'll make the drink equal to, let's say, milk tea. I'm pretty sure we're gonna get some errors, and that's what coding is all about, debugging. Oh no, it worked out. Okay, I want milk tea. Let's try something else. Let's try coffee. Coffee. Okay, and what do we get? Boom. So there you go, guys. It's functioning well. Actually, let's try one more drink. Something that's not in our predefined list. Let's say I don't know, maybe I just want some water from the coffee shop. So it actually was an error because water's not defined. So let's say I put it in parentheses, or I put it in, I put it in, sorry guys, it's so early in the morning right now. If I put it in a pair of, why can't I remember? Oh my god. Why, if I put it in a pair of quotation marks, yes, okay. Sorry, that took so long, guys. I want something new. Perfect, it worked out. So, let me tell you why we do not need to use the return statement in this function. The if-else statement has an automatic return on whenever something happens. So when it goes through this little check from top to bottom, if one of the things happens, then it automatically returns the code inside of the curly brace. That's why we did not have to include our return statement in this. unless we had something else happening other than this, just this if else statement, we did not have to return this. Now I'm going to go over one more type of function, I guess you could say, and we're going to add to this program right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about embedded functions. So let's say you have a function, and at the end of the function, when you call this function, you want to call another function. Okay? So let me show you guys how to do that. I'll make another function. I'll make it up here. Function. And let's say I don't know what size of drink I want. You know what I mean? So let's say we'll create a new variable up here too, actually. And we'll make it size. Const size should equal, let's say I wrote small for now. Now our function will be what size. It's basically asking what size the drink is. What we're going to put in here is a size. That's going to be our, we're going to be putting in a size. So that's going to be our parameter that we have the function. Now we're going to set up an if else. So I'm just going to do something, I'm just going to recycle some code here. Command C, Command V. We don't need this. Let's get rid of that. We'll add another curly brace. Actually, there we go. Now what we're going to do is if size equals. Now we're going to Command C this as well. Now we're just going to do some copy and pasting. Just to save time, guys. I know this course is already so long, and I want it to be fast. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to get rid of our console.logs. I want a small, a medium, and I want a large. Perfect. Now we're just going to enter in the sizes. So small, medium, large. Now it should work perfectly. But how this function isn't being called, so how is it going to console.log each of these statements? That's a good thing. So what we're going to do here is we're going to have we have two options actually. Either we can call this function right after the add one function. I changed to coffee really quickly. Or we're going to get rid of these actually because we want to call the coffee variable. Even if you call the coffee string, it would still work, but you know. Or we could call it inside of the add one function. So we're just gonna call inside because embedded functions, and what we're gonna do is that every time it goes through and checks what the drink is, after it logs the coffee it wants, after it logs like the drink, we're gonna have it call what size for us. So we'll do this really quickly. I'm gonna copy this. And actually, no, we're gonna put the parameter of size in here. Command C. So I'm gonna go through some things before we move on. Actually, so as you can see, we have the what size function declared before add one because of course at what size is going to be called inside of add one, so it has to already exist, right? Because programs read files from top to bottom. Next thing I want to talk about real quickly is the fact that the reason why we're placing the what size function, why we're calling it after console.log I want coffee, because I want it to appear in the console, in the terminal, so it shows that I want coffee, or I want whatever drink, and then below that it shows the size that I want it to drink. If I put it above, then it would be the opposite. The drink size would be above, and the drink type would be below. But yeah, that's all. So now we're just gonna Command C that, and we're gonna paste this after all of these. There we go. Now let's call it and try it out. Okay, small is not defined. What does that mean? Small. Hmm. Oh, if actually what's supposed to be is a size. These are all supposed to be a size. My mistake, guys. A size. Sorry for confusing you back there if I did. These are supposed to be a size, and then this is supposed to be size. Because I check it's equal to the current size that I put in. So we're just gonna come in and see that. Oh my god, I forgot the S. Size. Oh, okay. Sorry guys, I'm having so much trouble this morning. Okay. Here, we have to put that in. And I think we should be good. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to think about something. No, that should work. Okay, so what we're gonna do instead actually is we should not have a size variable. We should have const small, const medium, and a const large. I'm gonna explain why right now. Let's just test it real quickly. Just give me size not defined again. And, what size? Oh, okay. Wait a second, guys. Hold on. We're gonna actually do this. I'm gonna do some command Z's. Okay. 1 second, guys. Sorry, there's a lot of confusion happening right now. What happened was actually in here, as you can see, I wrote what size, and then I wrote size as the variable, right? The issue is we cannot do that. I'll tell you why. The variable size is inside. It's right here, right? But of course, when you put it inside of a function, there's something called scope. So if you declare a variable inside of a function, like right here, if I declare a variable, it has to be it has to be sorry guys, if I declare a variable inside a function, it has to be um it can't be outside, it can't be used outside of the function. If it's called global variables versus like regular variables declared outside. So like here these functions are declared outside of a variable or an object or an array or whatever. Okay? If they were declared inside, I cannot use that outside. It's a really confusing concept. But what I would recommend in this use case is just create new size things. So we'll create a small. We'll create a const medium, and I'll create a quick const large. Cool. Now what we're going to do is we're going to change this up a little bit. So the parameter I pass in, which is going to be a size, is it equal to, oops, sorry, it's actually a, and then this is the uppercase size. Okay, and see. So it's going to check what we pass in, which is going to be one of these values, small, medium, or large. If it's equal to small, then we want to do the perfect. This is good. So command C. No, we don't want to do that. Command C. Hold up, guys? I'm just gonna replace these really quickly. And down here, we're gonna change this with what size? Let's say for now we just want the size of small. Okay. Now let's this. I want a coffee. I want a small. Perfect. Now let's change this to medium. Oh, I spelled it. Oh my god, I spelled it wrong each time. Sorry about that, guys. Oh my god. And there we go. I want coffee. I want a medium. Now, it's really inefficient because, of course, we can't specifically be like taking we have to replace in each place, which is very inconvenient. Because if we have small here, medium here, if it turns to be coffee, then well, we're kind of screwed. So what I'm going to show you guys right now is how to put basically all of these variables into one kind of. So what I mean by that is um, whatever a size turns out to be, let's say hmm, let's think about this. If we wanted to do that, let's say we have, so actually what we'll do is we're going to we're going to get rid of these small, medium, large. I'm going to show you the other thing I was talking about. We're going to take this back to size equal to small, okay? And now we're going to make what it's equal to all of these strings. So now we just pass in size. Everything should work fine. There we go. I want a coffee. I want a small. Let's change this really quickly to large. Perfect. What happens if I put in a random size like, let's say I put an extra large. But what if the coffee shop doesn't have extra large? I want a coffee, that's all it says. But we want to write something if there's no size. So let's do a quick else statement right here. Else console.log they don't have that size. Okay, let's put this. Oh, we're not going to go over this concept yet, so let's go ignore that really quickly. Here we go. I want a coffee. They don't have that size. Perfect. So now we're gonna move on to the next section. And before we actually hop into objects and arrays, I'm gonna do a quick review of all this stuff, and I'm gonna go over some extra things like there is an input option, an input field you can basically create. So the console lets you input stuff into it to get a certain output. We're gonna go over that with functions. I feel like it's gonna help you guys understand more. We're gonna go over some other stuff too. And yeah, I don't want to let you guys know yet. It's kind of a surprise. But yeah, we're gonna make the next section more of like a review plus extras. That I wanted to include in the other things, but I felt like they're so tiny that it's better to make a full section. They're quite few actually. There's a lot of these things, so we'll make a section out of them. And yeah, so let's get into that. See you guys there. What's up, guys? And we're back here now, and this is our little mini section in between where I'm going to be talking about a couple of things I missed out on in other parts. So first thing I'm going to talk about is, well, while doing this function, while doing the function section, I forgot to give you guys a challenge. So we're going to start off with a challenge. So I'm just going to read all this code here. Okay, so what we're going to do for the challenge is I want you guys to create a function, and in the function I want you to have basically, let's say you have your own personal assistant and you need them to go to the store for you, any store like grocery store, and you need them to buy a couple things. Create 3 to 4 variables. Each variable will be an item, and then create a function where there's an if else statement inside. And in the function, what's going to happen is your robot, or your, sorry, not your robot, your assistant is going to go to the grocery store for you, and he's going to go through the function. So the function needs to have parameters, 3 to 4 parameters, depending on how many items you want to get from the store. And each parameter is going to have an if else. It's going to go through the if else, and basically in the if else you need to check, you need to have your assistant check if the item is there, and if so, have him console.log I got it, and if it's not there, then console.log um console.log it's an out of stock. And also what you want to do is each variable that you declare, like each of the item variables in your grocery store, you have to have them set as true or false values. So if it's true, it's at the grocery store. If it's false, it's not at the grocery store. So I'm gonna let you guys go ahead and try that, and then you can pause the video right now and go ahead and try that, and yeah, and then we'll go through it together. Okay, let's go through it together now, guys. I hope you were able to do it. If not, not a big problem. I'll show you guys how to do it, and then you can try it again. First, you're going to declare a variable. So we want to have const. Let's say I need to get bread. Cool. Bread. Then I need some milk as well. All of that. And wait 1 second, guys. And let's see, I need cereal too. 1 second. Okay, here we are. Perfect. Now we're gonna create our function. So we're gonna call this. What should we call this? Let's just call it get my stuff. Sure. And oh wait, forgot to add that space. Okay, and now we'll create our parameters. So we'll do item one. No, item one. Item two, item three. Okay, and now what we'll do is set up an if else, of course. And oh, I forgot to add my little curly braces. They're perfect. Now we're going to do the first check, which is going to be if item. Oh wait, sorry guys, I just realized these are supposed to be true or false values. So we'll say they do have milk in stock. Bread in stock. They don't have milk in stock. And this two true. Okay. If item one, if item one is in stock, basically, then I want you to. Oh yeah. 1 second. To get that indentation right. Perfect. Item one is in stock, then console.log. Well, in this situation, we'll just do I got it. Yeah, I got it. Perfect. And then we'll create an else really quickly. Else console out of stock. Now, if you guys don't already know, what we're gonna have to do in this situation is we're gonna create. Sorry, 1 second. We're gonna be creating multiple if else's instead of having one if else that goes through and checks different things. We're gonna have multiple. So you could just do if item one is installed or not, but instead we're just gonna create multiple. I feel like it's a lot simpler. another one. Actually, we just have to copy and paste this now and change item 1 to item 2. So Control V and Control V. There we go. So now we'll make this item 2. We'll make this item 3. Perfect. And now what we're going to do is we're going to call the function. So we'll do get my stuff, call it, and we'll do bread, comma, milk, comma, cereals. There we go. Now let's see what happens when we run the program. Out of stock, I got it, out of stock. Perfect. Now what's the real issue with this? We can't really tell what item 1 is and what thing is. So we'll just say, what we'll do is we'll add the item name. So we already know what's predetermined, so we'll do bread. Okay, there we go. String concatenation, really basic. You guys know that. And then we have some milk. Oh wait, no, this is also bread. Perfect. And now we'll do milk. One more milk. And then we got the cereals. Actually, it wasn't, it's because it's going to say true in stock. So what we will do is cereal. I got it. Cereal out of stock. Milk out of stock. Milk, I got it. This one more time. Sorry it's taking so long, guys. But we're just about done. I realized I made a quick mistake. Right here I wrote milk instead of bread. Bread. Perfect. Okay. Now let's run this again. Let's see. Bread out of stock. Milk, I got it. Cereal out of stock. So let's see. Is it true, false, true? Yep, it is. Perfect. So actually, I've noticed a problem with our program. I wonder if you guys can figure it out. So when the item is true, for some reason, it's doing the opposite. So when bread is true, it's saying out of stock, but it's true, so it should be in stock, right? Why is this? Let's try to figure it out. Actually, what we'll try doing is we'll set the triple equals to see if that affects anything. Let's try that. Bread out of stock. No, that doesn't. What could it be? Let me look at the code for a second, guys. Oh, it's really weird. I don't know, I can't tell you guys what the issue is. But what I'd recommend then, I guess, is just switch it around. Oh, didn't mean to open that. Let's just go back. Okay. What I'd just recommend is flip it around then, I guess. So we'll make this false. We'll make it true. Or we could, instead of doing a true, false, we could set it to values like bread is equal to a string, and that string could be is in stock. And we could check if bread equals is in stock, then, you get it. But yeah, let's try that. Bread out of stock, milk out of stock, cereal out of stock. Okay, now this is an actual error. Bread out of stock, milk out of stock. It's saying all of them are out of stock, even though I said meta value true. Let's set this to true and see what the issue is. No, it's really weird, guys. Milk I got, but they're all set to true. Oh, we have a there's a, that's the issue. I think so, at least. Yep, that's the issue, guys. You know what I said, I guess. There was a period there for some reason. Okay, now let's test it again. False. Surprised I didn't get any error because of that. Perfect. Out of stock. Got it. I got it. One more time. False. Out of stock. I got it. Out of stock. Perfect. So next thing I want to talk about is little thing is we haven't talked about getting user input yet. So I'm going to be showing you guys how to get user input in the browser. This way is probably not what you're going to use. You're probably going to use DOM manipulation, which we're going to talk about later in the course. But this is a really simple method to do so. So let's get into it. First, we're going to add an index.html file because we're going to be doing this in the DOM. And we're just going to, if you're in VS Code, it comes with a extension called Emmet. So if you do Shift 1, which brings up this exclamation mark, it says Emmet abbreviation. When you click on that, it'll give you a quick boilerplate, which is really handy. We'll leave it the same, and we're just going to add a script tag. Yes. That should be good. Now let's just see what happens. So the input tag, which how we can get input, is we can create a variable. So we'll create let name, and then what we'll do is equals, and this is a really basic prompt. We equal it to a prompt. We can type anything inside the prompt in a string format, and this is what's going to be displayed on the browser, and it's going to ask you to answer it. So enter your name. Now what we'll do is we'll click index.html, and we're going to open with live server. I already talked about how to get live server in the intro. So if you guys don't know, just rewatch that section, and yeah. So here it is. There you go. It's enter your name. So I'll enter and I'll enter anything. Cool. Okay, there we go. Let's go back. Here we are. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you guys how to use prompt with something called alert. Alert is basically like it's an alert that pops up on the page. I'll show you guys right now. So let's just type in alert here. I am a random alert. Random. Perfect. Now we're gonna go over here. We are to your name. Okay, we didn't get it. Why did not we get it? Why did we not get it? What was that tag? 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna figure out what that tag was. I can't seem to remember, so I'll be right back. I don't know. Had some unknown error for some reason. Don't know why it wasn't working. So here we are. I'm just gonna reload the page. Enter your name. I am a random alert. There we go. So now what we can do with this is we can have the alert tell us what the name is. So let's say I changed what the alert says to name. And now what we'll do is go back, enter your name, say, oh, let's say my name was hello. Just click that, boom, it says hello. So now the reason this is really cool, when I was first learning JavaScript, this is one of the first things I learned. You basically use it not at all, but it's still very cool to learn because it can be very useful when you're trying to learn DOM manipulation. So now what I'm going to ask you guys to do is create create a multiplication calculator. So something that asks you, it brings up an alert. Yes, okay. So it brings up not an alert, a prompt box, and it asks you to enter the first number, enter a number, and then it asks you to enter another number, and then it calls a function where it basically multiplies those two numbers, and then it alerts those numbers to you. That final number alerts it. So I want you guys to go ahead and try that, and just pause the video right here and go ahead and give it a try. Okay, I hope you guys were able to do that. Now let's get into it together. Okay, so first what we're going to do is we're going to create our variable with the prompt. So you might be asking why it's a let, and the reason I'm creating the let, like you could create it as a const, and I don't think you have any problems. But just in case the variable changes a lot, even though it's only changing once, in which case you can have it as const. But I personally think for like prompt boxes when you're saving input, I would use a let. Anyways, so what we're gonna do is let um we'll make this num1 equal prompt. And now what we'll do in here is we'll have enter your first number. Now it's gonna copy that. Add right here, enter your second number. Perfect. You got these. And so now this is going to find out the two values. And we're going to have a function here. Function multiply. Oh my god. Okay, multiply. I'll have that. Okay. Now in the function of multiply, we're going to have to return something because we don't have implicit return. Implicit return isn't like it automatically returns. And the reason we don't have that is because we're not using an if else statement. So we're going to have our own return statement. And then here we're going to do, we want to return an alert with that shows num. Actually, so there's two ways you can do this. We can have an alert that does num1 plus num1. Sorry, multiplied by num2. We could do that, and then call the function down here. Multiply. Now, the reason we're not going to do that, actually, I forgot one thing, guys. We're not going to want num1 and num2. We're going to want to pass them as parameters. So, number 1, number 2. I'll do this. 1, 2. Perfect. We're good with that. So now we can try this, and it will work out perfectly fine. So let me show you guys that. What happened here? I think we got an error. Let's reload the page. Okay, enter your first number. Let's say I want to do 2 times 12. 24. Works perfectly. So we can do that. And actually, if we get rid of these parameters, I'm pretty sure it would still work out if we change this to num1 and num2. Let's do that. There we go. We'll get rid of this. Add that back. And now let's try this. Enter your first number 12. Let's do 12. Don't know why you're thinking alert. Let's try that again. 12. 12. 144. There we go. So we know that's working. And the last thing we can do actually is we can create a new variable here. So we can set a variable called const, and we can do const final num equals num1 times num2. And then in this situation, what would happen is, wait, we just need to add a 1 second. Yeah, so in this situation, what would happen is we need those spaces. Okay. what we could do is we could alert, I'm pretty sure final, no, that should work out. I'm not sure I'm getting all these. Oh yes, because we don't need to return this, so we can see that, and we could put that above the return statement. Yeah, okay, so we have that. Now let's try this. So every time like you reload the page the first time, it's kind of glitchy, so just reload it. Oh, let's enter your second number. What's happening? Okay, here we go. Okay, enter your first number. Cool. 12, 12, 144. Perfect. So this works out too. And that's the thing with this. This is a really basic thing to do, so there are multiple methods. You could choose however you want to do it. Personally, because you only have two variables here, I would just get rid of this and just do alert num1 times num2. I think it's readable. If you had a lot of code, then I feel like this is the best approach. And passing it in through a parameter as a parameter, there's no purpose in this, to be honest. You could do it, but there's no need to. There's use cases for everything, and as we go through and we get more advanced, you'll learn more use cases of everything. So yeah, I hope you guys were able to finish this through either of the three methods. And yeah, and one more thing. If you guys are having issues with your reloading, and if you're like, if you write code but none of it affects the browser and nothing is changing, that might be because you don't have um, autosave set up. So like if you go to right here and you go to preferences on Windows or Mac, you put settings and you can turn on autosave after delay, and 1,000 meaning 1 second. So my code should all save after I'm done typing it a second after. And I feel like that's the best setting to have. Right here I have autosave ticked as well. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I talked about this in the intro, but just in case you skipped the intro or something and you just need to know, I would definitely recommend to do that. That's the best way. You could keep going up here and saving, but I think this is the best way. And yeah, so practice this, and next we're going to be talking about arrays. I will see you guys there. What's up, guys? And we're back, and now we're going to talk about arrays. So before starting to talk about arrays, one thing I really want to get into is arrays in general are really complicated, and there are tons of array methods, like tons of them. There's tons of things you can do with arrays. So I'm going to be giving this link right here to the MDN docs. I recommend you go check that out. They talk a lot about arrays. There's a lot about arrays. And yeah, definitely recommend you go check this out. Just gonna backslash this. I'm also gonna have it in the description. And yeah, this is definitely a really good source. But let's get into it. So for now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna delete our HTML file for now because we're gonna focus. Actually, we'll keep it for now. We'll see what to do with that later on. We're gonna get rid of all of our function code here and make sure there's nothing else in the HTML. Nope, there's not. Okay, perfect. And I'm gonna get rid of this too. You guys already know the link. Okay, so before we get into arrays, there's something I told you guys I would talk to you about, which was how to add like apostrophes basically in the strings. So let's get into it. Let's say I have a variable here, and I'll call it my I don't know, my order. Let's say I want to order something from a restaurant or something. Equals, and then I have a string. So let's say my string was so we'll do I'm ordering a milkshake. So you can see it's like the squiggly line, the red squiggly line, that means code has some error. So what we can do is escape the letter. And what I mean by that is you just have to add a backslash right here, right after the I, right before the apostrophe basically. And now we can try console.logging that. Log my order. Console there, perfect. Now let's run this. I'm ordering a milkshake. Perfect. So now that you guys know how to do that, also if you add a space right here, and then we do that again, there you go. Now you can see the space there. Just a quick thing, not that important, but just in case you guys run into that issue, you're like, how do I do this? That's how. And actually, I'm pretty sure if you decide to use double quotes, then you won't run into the issue at all. But maybe you don't want to use double quotes, I don't know. But let's try it. Yeah, you don't run into the problem at all using double quotes. But yeah. Anyways, let's get into arrays. So I'm just letting you guys know from the start, arrays are really complicated. You might be confused throughout a lot of this. If you are, just try your best to follow along. If you're still having trouble, try to look at the docs. The docs are really helpful. They have a lot of information about arrays in general, and I think it's a really good source. Anyways, let's get into it. So whenever I declare an array, I like to use the let keyword, not const, because I feel like let is better because sometimes I want to change my arrays, add stuff, remove stuff, all that. So we're gonna stick with let. So I'll call this my first array equals. Now arrays are always surrounded in square brackets, like so. And how they work is an array is basically it's like a list of items. So let's say I want to create, let's change the first array name to um array of cat names. Let's say I have a bunch of cats and I want to keep all of their names in this array. Array of cat names. So now what I'm going to do is I'll add my first cat name. His name is Whiskers. But of course it's a string, so we're going to surround it. Whiskers. So that's the first value in my array. Then I add a comma, and then I'll add the next one. I don't know, let's say my next cat's name is, I know, let's say it's Fluffy. And then that's my second argument in the array, your second piece of data in the array. And then I'll add something else, since this one's name is just, pause. Sure, why not? So this is my array. And now I can console.log this. Log array of cat names. So now let's just console.log that. There you can see Whiskers, Fluffy, Paws. So that's how you create an array. Now let's talk about how to do array methods. I'm only gonna be talking about the basic ones because there's literally 100. There's so many array methods. I just want to get into the basic ones though, so you guys understand how arrays work. So let's talk about the first one, which is push. So what you have to do for this what this method does is it adds a new value to the end of an array. So what you would do is you'd have to create a new array, basically. Let's say my new array is yeah, actually, well, it's optional. You can either create a new array name or you can add to. So first, I'll add to the last one. So array of cat names, and then we'll do equals array of cat names dot push. Oh, I messed up. Push, and then in here we have to put quotations if it's a string, and then you put in whatever value you want to add. So I have a new cat that I just bought, and his name is, I don't know, let's say Whiskers 2. Whiskers 2. Okay? And now after that runs, I want to console dot log the value, like the array of cat names. Now let's try this. So it just logged 4, which is interesting. Why would it log 4? Console.log array of cat names. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Well, regardless, when it says 4, it basically is telling us that there's 4 values. But one second, guys. Okay, cat names. And 1 second, guys. I'm gonna try figuring out what's going on here. I'll be just back in 1 second. Guys, I figured out what's wrong. All we have to do here is we have two options. Either we can change, so we can create a new variable, and we'll call this a array of cat names. And then when we console.log a array of cat names, what we're gonna get is 4. We use 4 items. If we change this to array of cat names, then we're gonna get the new cat name because it's gonna print this array. But the best way I would say to use the push method or any method is have it in a line of JavaScript like this: array of cat names dot push, and that's what I want to push. Now we'll console.log this. There we go. Let's say I want to push multiple values. Just add a comma. Then I can add maybe I want to have another cat name Fluffy 2. We'll do this. There we go. Pushed all those values. Now let's talk about the next method, which is pop. So with this, what happens is we don't have to put in any argument. It just takes the um last the last value of in the array. So there's 3 values here. The last one last doesn't like the most farthest right value, which would be pause, and it's gonna take that off the array. So now I can console.log the array, and we have whiskers and fluffy. And I'm pretty sure if we type in 2, it should take away 2 of the, no, it doesn't take away 2. But I'm pretty sure, like, if we, I think it's array index value, so 0, 1, 2. No, actually, we'll talk about that after. There's also something, so let's say you have an array and you want to print or console.log a specific value of the array. Let's comment that out. Let's say I want to console.log whiskers out of the array. I don't want to like console.log the whole array. I can do whiskers and then these parentheses 1. Now, no, actually not 1, sorry, 0. So in an array, there's something called index values. Each array item is assigned an index value. The very first item is assigned an index value of 0, and then so on. So 0, 1, 2. So when I console.log array of cat names index value 0, I should get whiskers. Array of cat names is not a function. Oh yes, actually we're supposed to have square brackets here, not the parentheses. Now let's try that again. There we go, whiskers. Now let's change this to 1, and we should get fluffy. There we go. Just to make sure, try with 2. Pause. Perfect. So now what we're going to want to do is I'm going to show you how to use the next array method called shift. So right now I've taught you guys how to add items to the end of an array, but what if you want to add items to the start of an array? Then you would use something called dot on shift. So now what we're going to do is we want to add an item. Let's say I'll add whiskers 2 again. Whiskers 2. Run that. Whiskers 2, whiskers fluffy pause. As you can see, whiskers got added to the beginning of the array. Let's say I want to add multiple things, so like whiskers. Yeah, those actually fluffy. Sorry, fluffy 2. Now let's try that. Whiskers fluffy 2, whiskers fluffy pause. Perfect. Now you might be wondering, what if I want to take items off the top of an array or the beginning of an array? Well, if this is unshift, then that would be shift. We're just gonna get rid of this. And now what you should do is just take off the first value. Boom. So now we have fluffy and pause. And the best part about these array methods is you can run them multiple times. So let's say I want to do that. Oh, sorry guys. Where are we? Okay. Best part about these array methods is you can run them multiple times. So let's try that. There we go. We're left with just pause because dot shift runs twice. Now I'm going to show you guys how to use how to use the indexed values to take items off, to shift them, and how to use the index value or the item's actual name or the item value itself, the item itself, to take items off and add items. So let's get into it. Let's get into this. So to add or to add or get rid of an array, really just get rid of an item from an array, what we have to do is we have to create this variable, let pause. So you can change this pause in like position, you can change this anything you want. You don't even have to create this. This is just a use case I'm telling you. It has to be equal to array of cats index of, and now if you have to know the item name of like the name of the item you want to get rid of. So I want to get rid of, let's say I want to get rid of whiskers. So that I'll type in whiskers here. And now array of cat names of splice. Splice is another, we don't need this. Okay, splice is another method, and array method. What it does is it first parameter it takes in is the position of the item you want to get rid of. You want to talk about how many items you want to get rid of. So I want to get rid of this item at the array position of 0 right here, and I want to get rid of that one item. So now we're going to console.log this, and we should get fluffy and pause. Perfect. Now let's say I change this to fluffy. Now whiskers and paws should be left. There we go. And let's do this one more time. And let's get rid of 2 items. Let's see what happens. Oh, I forgot to add whiskers. So what happened here was it took out fluffy and it takes out the index item right after that. So if I put whiskers here and whiskers here, it should, one second, let me fix that. It should take out whiskers and fluffy and leave paws. So let's try that. There we go. Let's say I did 3. Should take everything out and make it an empty array. Perfect. Now let's talk about, like, you don't have to have this here, the index of. That's only if you don't know the index value. If you do know the index value, you can get rid of that and change position to whatever index value. So let's say I want to get rid of whiskers but keep fluffy and paws. 0, 3. Then we'll do node.app.js. Actually, not 3. We just want to get rid of whiskers. So 1. There we go. Fluffy and paws are left. Now another use case is like, let's say I want to create a new variable, or sorry, a new array, and I want that array to have these values, these spliced values, the values that I'm taking out. So let's say I can create a new variable called cats equals array of cat names dot splice. So let's say I want to console.log both of these. Console.log cats. Now let's try this and see what happens. So we get fluffy and paws is console.log first, and then whiskers. Why? Because whiskers is automatically added to this new array of when it's spliced. It's spliced and added to the new array. So let's say I spliced more than one thing. I spliced whiskers and paw, fluffy, 2 items, because I'm starting at the array index of 0. These 2 should be added to cats, and this should be left in array of cat names. Let's try that. There you go. Paws is left, whiskers and fluffy are in the next array. Just to prove it's not the same array, we can get rid of that console.log right there. And there we go. Whiskers and fluffy. So this is really just very bare bones of arrays. Arrays are really complicated, they get even more complicated. But I hope you guys were able to follow along. And I hope you're able to understand. If not, definitely check out the docs. I highly recommend looking at the docs. They're truly amazing. Anyways, before we move on, let's do a quick little project here. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna have you guys create an array and make that array about, let's say it's gonna be about different different dog names. Okay, have at least three to four dog names preferably, and then I'm gonna have you guys take those dog names, and what I want you to do is create a function. Actually, no, that's a bit advanced for now. I'm gonna have you guys create a I'm sorry, I'm really tired right now. Create the array, and then I want you guys to do at least three operations on the array, three array methods. So you can do push, you can do pop, you can do slice, you can do unshift, you can do shift, whatever you want. Pick any of those, do three of them, and then I want you to console.log the result. So I want you to do like whatever the name is of the array dot push, and then console dot log the result, and then the next method. So you console dot log each method, like after each method, so we can see each change. And yeah, so go ahead and try that. And I'm gonna let you do that. Just pause the video and go ahead and give that a try. Okay, now that you're back, let's try it together. So let's create our array. So let dog, no, 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 let dog names equal. So I'm gonna do my for. I'm just gonna keep it kind of the same. Do this fluffy. I'll have maybe pause. Oh, 1 second. And I don't know. Howler. And then we need one more. Fuzzy. I don't know, guys. There we go. We got our four dog names. And now let's start doing our array methods. So let's say I want to do dot push. So um dog names dot push. I want to push the value of, I'll just call this the new dog, I guess. Console dot log the value, of course. So dog name. So we're just gonna copy this because we're gonna have to have it a lot. Actually, we can just copy this in general. Control C, Control V, Control V. I like to keep my code separated. There we go. And now we're gonna change this to push. I mean pop. And we're gonna pop off whatever value is there. And now we're gonna make this unshift. And let's say I want to add the value of let's say old dog, I guess. No, actually, we're not gonna. No space. Okay. Now let's see what happens. So first we start off with the array, regular array right here. Then we push a value called new dog. Then we end up popping that value off because we don't want it. And then we end up unshifting a new value of old dog. Unshift as in it gets added to the beginning of the array. So that worked out perfectly. If you guys were able to replicate the same thing, not the same thing, but like you got the same working result without any errors, that's great. If you guys didn't, I would recommend trying to find some quick small projects to do with arrays, some quick activities. Definitely practice this because now we're going to get into a lot more advanced array objects. Next, we're going to be talking about how to, first of all, how to loops, and then we're going to be talking about looping through arrays. So yeah, definitely good at this. We're going to be talking about loops next, and you will have a kind of bigger mini project coming up. Right now, we've been doing these small activities. We're gonna have a mini project, and yeah, we'll get into it. So I'll see you guys then. Peace. What's up, guys? Let's get into arrays. So I mean, sorry, not not arrays, loops. So let's get our code here. I'm gonna have some boilerplate code here. Let me just explain it to you. So what are loops? Let's say I want to console dot log hello world, but I want to do it 5 times. Well, it's going to be really inconvenient to, and like not useful to take that code, copy it down 5 times. And it it's not a part of a concept called dry programming. Don't repeat yourself. That's why we don't repeat ourselves. That's why we use loops. So there are 5 different types of loops, and I'm going to cover all 5 of them. So this is going to be a little complicated, and it is going to be a little long, but I want you guys to stick through it. And yeah, so let's get into it. This is the first type of loop. It's called a for loop. It's the most basic, in my opinion, and it's one of my favorites, to be honest. So what you have to do is you have to write the keyword of for, and then you have to surround. You have parentheses. It's kind of like a function. And then in the parentheses, you have to declare a variable with the let keyword. Now I declared it as I because we declare it usually as index, I for index, and then you have to make it equal to not 1, 0, then the semicolon to say this argument is over. Then in the next argument you have to do I has to be less than 5 in this example, then another semicolon, and then I plus plus, meaning every time this loop runs, I want you to have the value of I. We already know what it is. First time it runs through, create the value of I, and then each time it runs, check if I is less than 5. If so, do I plus plus, meaning I plus 1. So doing I plus plus, writing I plus plus is the same as writing I plus 1. It's the exact same thing. It's just your choice what you want to do. Plus plus is just shorter syntax, and it's easier to understand. Anyways, then what you want to do is, then after it does the I plus 1, you want to have code in here execute. So whatever 5 is, like right here, I did I has to be less than 5. And as long as it's less than 5, it continues to do whatever is in here. So I'll write console.log, and we'll do hello world. Now let's run this and see what happens. There we go. Hello world, hello world, hello world, hello world, hello world. 5 times. Now let's explain what I becomes each time. Plus I. What does it say? Oh, I wrote equals. My mistake. Now let's try that. And there we go. You can see hello world 0, hello world 1, 2, 3, 4. So what happens is the first time this loop runs, I 0. After running, it does I plus plus. So first, it declares the variable. That's the very first time it runs, it declares let I equals 0. Then it checks if I is less than 5. Then it does the code in here, and then it does I plus plus, meaning I plus 1. And it goes again. So now the value is 1. We know it's still less than 5. We run the code. 2. Same thing until it gets to 4, and then it's like, okay, now I know that I'm like equal to 5, so can't run again, and it stops. So another way you could use for loops is, let's say I wanted to do something like this, where I want to make sure 5 has to be, I has to be more than 5, and I can run. So then what's going to happen is I have to make I 6. I'll start off 5 to show you guys what happens. So we'll do this, and nothing's going to happen because I is 5, and as long as it has to be more than 5, but it's equal to, it won't run at all. So we'll make this 6, and this is something you don't want to do because it creates an infinite loop, as you can see. Now to stop that, we just press Control C, and yeah. So another way you could do this is I has to be less than. Okay, so we could have the loop go backwards. So I has to be more no less than. Oh, 1 second. I has to be less than or equal to. Yeah, less than. 1 second, guys. I know I'm having an issue. Okay, less than or equal to 1. And you can try that now. And so what would happen is I has to be yeah, more than, it has to be more than or equal to 1, and I equals 6. So, and then, but you have to think about the fact that we're still I plus plus I plus 1. So what do we do to change that? Simple. I minus minus. Now let's run that. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. So that's really simple. And this is just basic for loops. Let's get into something a little bit more advanced. Let's combine if else statements with for loops. So let's say I have the number of, let's go back to our regular example of, has to be less than, and we'll change this to 5, change that, change I back to 0, and then make this plus plus again. Perfect. Now let's change console.log to an if else statement. So what we'll do here is we'll check if I is, I don't know, if I is, what should we do? If I is, oh, we'll do, if it's an even number or odd number. So we'll do I has to be less than 6, and if I is, I divided by 2, so I divided by 2, if it's like 2, then I divided by 2 is, equal to, is not, so if I divided by 2 is not, because, you know, ternary operator, we talked about this, the one exclamation mark is not, and triple equals, so I divided by 2 is not equal to 0, then, so if it's basically an odd number, console.log, oh, I messed up right there, console.log, I am an odd number, and I'll do the same thing for the else, that's right, okay, else, console.log, I am an even number. Can you give a squiggly line on the E? Else, why is that? I don't know. Still squiggly line on the else. Don't know. Let's get rid of this for a second and try the code without it, just to see if it works now. No, we have a problem. Oh, triple equals problem. Okay, that should work. Let's try that. Okay, that's perfect. So 0 is not an odd number. 1 is, 2 is not, 3 is, 4 is not, 5 is. So 1, 3, 5. Perfect. 3 odd numbers. Now let's add that if else. I think it will work now because, nope, still some issue. Well, we have an extra. No, we don't. I can't seem to figure out what the issue is, guys. Okay, there we go. Basic houses. Good to go. Do this. There we go. I'm an even number. I'm an odd, even odd, even odd. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. So, yeah, guys, that is basic for loops. And now next we're gonna get into while loops. Let's do it. Okay, guys. Before we move on, there's one more thing I want to cover with for loops. This is why we learned arrays before for loops, of course. So in a for loop, the best part about for loops is that you can use them to loop through arrays. And this is how you would do that. I'll create my array up here, const, I don't know, const dogs equals, and I'll do fluffy cheddar, and I don't know anything else. Let's do cat name, why not? Just curious. Okay, we got our names here, space. Okay, now what we do is to basically loop through this array, we do messed that up. Okay, for dog in dog console dog log dog. Okay, so dog, same as what usually we would do. We would do this dog. No, dog. It's capital D here. So when we say like dog and dogs, we mean this is a for in loop. So for every dog means same as I. For every index value in dog, I want to console.log the value of dog. So what it'll do is it's gonna go through this. So first dog is gonna be 0, and then it's gonna console.log that. It's gonna go to the next value, 1, console.log that, then go to 3, dog becomes 3, console.log that. That's what happens in a for in loop. So this is technically the next loop we're gonna learn. But yeah, this loop is really just used for mainly array iteration. That's what we call looping through an array iteration. So let me just go ahead. Okay, so you can notice it did 0, 1, 2. What is that? It printed the index values of each thing. So if we wanted to print each dog's name, what we could do is console.log dogs regular brackets dog. So what that does is it console.logs each dog index. So this is the word. This is hard to explain, guys. Trust me, it's really confusing when I was learning too. It just once you get it though, it's easy to understand. So what's happening here is writing dogs and then square brackets dog is the same as doing console dog log dogs square bracket 1. What this statement is doing right here is it's doing going inside the array of dogs, and it's gonna console.log the first index item, the first like index item with the index of 1. This is the index item with 0, 1, 2. That's the type of index item 0, index item 1, index item 2. So here, what we're doing in this function, in this loop, I mean, we're console.logging the index value of dog, which is looped through constantly with the array of dogs. So I'll run that one more time. There we go. Now we get fluffy cheddar whiskers. Now this is amazing, especially because we could do a ton of things in these for I loops. This is just the really basic stuff for in loops, sorry. But array iteration is definitely the main reason I would use for in loops. I'm pretty sure there are some advanced ways to do object iteration too. We haven't gotten into objects yet. We're going to talk about this soon. But yeah. So now let's get into our next loop. Okay, guys, let's get into while loops now. So what we'll do is we'll create a variable. We'll use the let keyword, and this will be let age equal 5. Okay, and then we'll start a loop. So for while loop, you have while, then the parentheses, and then curly braces. So a while loop is really similar to an if else, but it's a constant checking. So it almost is always checking, even when it's always checking. Like you don't have to call it or anything. It's let me just get into it. So if age is less than less than 5. So what it's gonna do is it's gonna check if age is less than 5, and if so, it's gonna do whatever code is in here. And it's gonna come back on top, and if it's still less than 5, it'll do it again. If it's not less than 5, then it's gonna stop. It's gonna break out when it gets here. But the problem is that if you don't have anything inside the code that increases the age, changes it at all to make it eventually like change this, it's gonna become an infinite loop. So right here we'll type in console dot log age I, which is this, I am plus age. Okay, and then outside of this we'll do age plus plus. And now this should work. Let's try this. So nothing happened. Why is that? Age has to be less than 5 and I made it 5, so no wonder nothing happened. We'll make it 0. There we go. I am 0, I am 1, I am 2, I am 3, I am 4. And then when it hits 5, break up because we have age plus plus. We can do the same thing if we switch this around to age has to be more than 5. And we'll say age is, or more than 0. And we'll say right now it's 5, and we'll make this minus minus. And then we'll do this. I'm 5, I'm 4, I'm 3, I'm 2, I'm 1. That's it. Cool. So now why are these useful? They're basically like for loops, but like they have less functionality. I usually don't use while loops, but there are some situations where they are really useful. But when it comes to while loops, I would say things that you don't have to like constantly check and they can change. Another thing you can do for while loops is if you can use them with booleans. You don't have to use numbers. So if age is, no, what we can do is we'll change this all up to something different. So let's change this. What we'll do is we'll make this a joke checker, basically. Like let's say this is a robot's code, and joke equals, oh no, joke is funny equals true. Alright, while joke is funny, so if joke is funny is true, then we're gonna console.log ha 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 ha. Okay, cool, we got that. And after we do that, we're gonna, so the default value is gonna be so yeah, we're gonna start it off as true, and once it runs this, we'll say, oh, we forgot to do let joke is funny. You guys probably noticed that. Now right here we'll do joke is funny equals opposite of joke is funny. So each time this loop goes, it'll change this to the opposite of whatever it actually is. So it's true, it'll become false. But then this is not going to be true, so it's not going to execute. It's going to execute one thing. It says ha ha ha. Oh, I forgot to put those around it. Let's try this. This is that one. So what it does here is actually we can just change this to false because we want to make it false. And then we'll run this. There we go. So it checks if this condition is true, which it is, and then it does this, and then it does whatever, and it breaks out. Let's say I got rid of this right here. What would happen? We would have an infinite loop. There we go. Now to end that loop, we can just Control C. But yeah. So that's why while loops are great. I would recommend using a for loop for most of your needs, but if you have something really simple you have to do and you don't think you need to use a for loop, then go for it. While loops aren't that bad. So next thing we're gonna talk about are do while loops, and that's the last type of loop we have to talk about, and then we can get into objects. So let's get into it. Okay, guys, let's get into our last loop. So the last loop we're gonna look at is the do while loop. So what do those look like? So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna edit the syntax here a little bit to fit what the do while loop is, and yeah. This is what a do while loop looks like, guys. There we go. So okay. Yeah, okay. So you guys might be wondering, so what happens? So the do while loop is basically the exact same as a while loop. You have to do all the same stuff. The only difference is the the condition, whatever you write in the do while loop, it runs once at least. it has to. Let's say you have code that you need to run one time for sure, no matter what, even if it's not true. That will happen in a do while loop. So I'll console.log one. Actually, I'll do I let's put a variable. So I'll get rid of funny because we don't need that. Change this to let I equal 0. Console.log I, and then after we have to have our increment station, so I plus plus, and then here we'll do if I has to be less than 0. Now let's run this. Okay, so this is a really weird infinite loop. Let me just control C that. Let's change I to 1. Or no, I has to be less than 0. It has to be more than, that's what I wrote. 1 second, guys. Okay, having some technical difficulty. Okay, I has to be less than 0. This situation, every time this loop runs, I gets increased by 1. So it's 0 right now. So when this loop runs, it's going to cause it all log I, increase it. Then it's going to check the condition to run it again. So yeah, it logs 0 one time. Why? Because the do loop has to run at least once. At least. And so let's say I change this to um it has to be less than 5. Currently it's 0 plus plus. Perfect. Now it's gonna run 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 like a regular for loop or while loop, I guess. But yeah, these loops are really just meant for if you want to execute a condition one time no matter what. Yeah, they're really good though. So now let's get into our little activity for loops. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to create a for loop, a for loop, and a while loop. I feel like those are the ones that are used the most. But definitely do practice for it and do while, especially for it. That's really useful. But a for loop and a while loop, and I want you guys to create those loops and make them about really anything. But the loop has to have some things in it. It has to, of course, the syntax has to be right and everything, and the loop has to execute both of them at least 5 times. So go ahead and do that, and yeah, I'll give you guys a second to pause, and go ahead. Okay, let's get into it. So I hope you guys are able to do it yourself, but now let's do it together. So let's do the for loop first. For I equals, oh no, we have to do let. I always forget that for some reason. Let I equal 0, I has to be less than 5, I plus plus. Have that there, and now we'll write, I don't know, console.log I. Let's make a while loop. While I is less than, as long as I is less than 5, I want to console.log. Alright, now the while loop I'm telling you guys right now is not going to work. I'm going to explain later on why it's not going to work, but we're going to run this code and we're probably going to get an error. There we go. What error did we get? Oh, we got the wrong error. Sorry about that. Okay. There we go. I is not defined. What is it talking about? I is defined right here. No, I is not defined in the while loop. Now, why is this? We already defined I up here. Why do we have to redefine it? So that's something I don't want to touch on in one full lesson, so I'm just bringing it up. This is because something called scope. So each loop and function, they have their own scope. Any variable declared inside a function or a loop can only be used in that loop. So if I created I here, right? This can only work in the for loop. This variable only exists inside this for loop. I could recreate I, another I variable, It's not the same as this, it's different. And I can set this to 0 as well. And now everything should work perfectly fine. What just happened? Oh, we did not add the I++ here. Do that. Okay, something is wrong with the code. Let I equal 0, I has to be more than 5 to run this loop. No, I has to be less than 5, I++. Okay, this should work now. There we go. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's get rid of this loop for now, guys. Can't see. But yeah, you can see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is working. Let's say I did not create this here. If I create a variable outside of a function in the global area, this is the global area. This right here, this area outside of the function or loop. This is the scoped area. It's scoped inside of the function and or loop. So let's say I have I here, right? What I could do, if I really wanted to, I could get rid of this, and I could just declare I up here. So I could do let I equal 0. That unexpected token. Why is that? Okay, I don't know why we're having that issue, to be honest. Hey guys, I'm having a lot of issues for some reason, but this should not occur for you. If it does, then stick to the other thing, but this should not occur. It should work. And yeah, but you can do that. But anyways, that's for loops. Let me go back to our while loop, which is right here. So we have to declare I. We have to declare whatever value for the while loop. If we're using a for loop as well, we still have to redeclare the I value. We can't use the same I value. One case actually where we could do that is if we, one second, Command Z. So we have our loop, and I'll bring the I back here. Actually, wait, one second. Yeah, we bring the I back here. So I is equal, or sorry, let I equal 0. Okay, we got that. And now what we can do here is bring in our next loop. And if we equal this to 1, I think everything should be fine because we basically created another variable, I guess you could say. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. For some reason it's not, this loop is not working, I guess. Let me get rid of the for loop and see why that is. So I think there's something wrong with this loop. I has to be more than 5, that's the issue. Actually, if I can, there, got this code back. You guys probably noticed that before I did. Here we go. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Why? Because I is 1 here and 0 here. Say I made this 0, then it'd be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. You have to declare I outside. And for some reason, I don't think we can get rid of I from here. Unless we have it like that. Let's try that. No, because I think maybe it's because here. Let's add that here. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Only this loop, I'm pretty sure, ran. Yes. So in the for loop, I guess, you have to initialize the variable inside the loop. So it has to be let I equal, let I equal 0. You have to initialize it, I guess. My mistake about that, but yeah, you have to initialize it. For the while loop, however, you don't, and you also can't use the for loops variable because of course, scope. But yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys were able to do that project. I hope you guys didn't have difficulties. And yeah, if you did, definitely rewatch this section. Practice a bit more. Find some activities online to do, because loops are very important, especially when you get into frameworks like React, Angular, Vue, whatever you want to do. Loops are really useful because it's a basic concept, but eventually everything starts piling up and they get advanced. So you need to know the basics really good. But yeah, So let's get into objects, guys. See you there. What's up, guys? So we're back, and now we're getting into objects. This is the last section before we jump into the browser and I teach you guys about working with the DOM. So this is objects are very similar to arrays. The only difference is they don't just store values, they store keys. So let's start off with our first object. We're going to use the keyword let. So let person equal. And now for a object, you use the curly braces. And then in here, what you have is, so a person has a name, and this is how you declare each value. So name, and then actually we'll do first name, then last name. And we have to have a thing and single quotations. John. Okay, so this is a very basic object. The first thing you have in an object is a key, so something that defines the value. It basically tells the program what this value is supposed to be about. This value is a first name. This value is a last name. The reason I capitalize the second letter, first letter of the second word, is that's just a good practice to have. It's personal choice, you don't have to do it. And today I want to add something else. Property of age has to be followed by a semicolon. Colon. And let's say he's, I don't know, 32. And let's say eye color. Let's say his eyes are blue. Why not? So this is an object. And objects are really good for storing things, especially when you don't want to use a database. You have like small things to store, or when you retrieve things from a database as well through fetch through the fetch API and use asynchronous. It's really easy to store stuff in a an object. You can even create an array of objects. So what you can do is let people equal. So we'll have those brackets, and then we'll have we would have something like one pair of brackets, second pair of brackets, and then one more pair. And then we can open all of these up. And let's say I copy this. Indenting is weird. Okay, let me get this together, guys. Oh, okay. Okay, I don't know why the internet's being so weird, but just give me a second to fix that, guys. Okay. I think you guys can already see what I mean by object array, but I do want to explain it just a little bit better so you guys do understand completely. Okay, perfect. So of course all the information wouldn't be the same, we would change this. And in this situation, actually, one second. Yeah, I think this is, okay. Oh yes, here we go. Because we don't have curly brackets, we're having an issue. adding those really quickly, because right now it's an array of arrays, which we don't want an array of brackets. I mean, an array of objects. There we go. This is an array of objects. So let people equal, and then each object inside of the array is a different person. Of course, right now I haven't changed the values, but like this is John Doe, age 32, eye color blue. I could make this Jane Doe, age 24, eye color brown, whatever. Anyways, another thing with objects you could do, like most objects things are similar to array things. So one thing I can think about that's really useful are object methods. In objects, you can create your own methods. Well, you can erase too, but in objects, it's really easy, and I personally like to do this a lot. Whenever you have information inside an object and you want to create a function with that information, you could create a function outside of the object and use that information, or you could use the object directly and create a function inside of it as a key value pair. This is a key value pair, by the way. This is the key, this is the value. So let's work on our function. Let's say function would be, let's call it full name, something that adds these two values and creates a full name. So we have full name here, and we'll set it equal to a function, and we're not going to give this function name. And inside the function, let's say we have so when you're accessing these values and you're inside the object, you would have to write the keyword of this before writing anything else. So it'd be this dot first name plus this dot last name. So now if you guys could tell, there isn't a problem with this code, and I'm gonna give you guys a second to try to figure it out because we have talked about this. It's a function problem specifically, so go ahead and try to figure it out. Okay, I'm back. So the issue with this code is that we forgot to add our return statement. We need to add that unless we're using an if else, because there's no implicit return, of course. Don't want to forget that. Okay, our return statement's there. Now that we have this is part of this, we can try to use our function. So console.log, and now to call this function, what we'd do is we'd write person dot full name. Now we should run that, and it should log out John Doe. Function full name. Interesting. Let me run that one more time, guys. Yeah, that's function full name. Is this because of an error, maybe? I can't tell you. 1 second, guys. Let's call the function full name as well and see what that does. No, nothing. Okay, guys, give me a second and I will try to figure out what the error is. Okay, guys, I'm back. So I figured out what the issue was. Actually, here we forgot to add a pair of parentheses to call the function. That's why it didn't work. So you can go ahead and do that right now, and let's run it. There we go, John Doe. But we want a space because first name, last name. So we'll just add that really quickly. And that should work out. There we go, John Doe. So now you can already start to see why objects are really useful. Thing with objects is there are the main reason we have objects, of course, is to store keys and values, key value pairs. So we also need to talk about how to access them. So this is one way you can access them, person.full name. And actually, so here we access person.full name, right? We can get rid of this and let's try to access the age. And oh, I forgot to get rid of that. Okay, there we go. Let's try to access that. 32. What about last name? Let's try to access that. There we go. So there are two ways to access these values. through something we're using right now called dot notation and bracket notation. Bracket notation works like this. And now, one second, guys. Okay, there's something I'm forgetting about bracket notation. I'll be right back when I try to figure it out. Guys, I'm back. So, I actually made a simple error here. You just need to use square brackets and you don't need that dollar sign. And this should work. Let's try that out. Okay, we still got something. I think this is because we need to have a pair of quotations around last name. I don't know why it is, but you do need to have that around. Whatever. Here we go. Dope. And we can also do age. There we go. Let's try first name. Oh, try that. John. So that is great. That works perfectly. Mostly used frequently is dot notation, but there are cases where you're not going to be able to use dot notation. There's not that many, but there still are some cases, and that's why I think it's good to know how both work. Even though bracket notation is, I would say, a little bit outdated. Regardless, there's one thing I want to talk to you guys about. Throughout this entire tutorial, I've been avoiding the use of something a lot of JavaScript, most JavaScript developers do use, which is the semicolon at the end of your statement. You don't have to use semicolons, and I've personally decided to stop using them because I don't like the way they look, and I don't like how it's very annoying to have to put them in sometimes and not the other times. Sorry, it's in my microphone. But yeah, so I have not used those. However, if you do want to use them, you can watch my next tutorial. I'm going to be talking about JavaScript with those, and I'm going to be showing you everywhere you would use them. It's going to be a small tutorial, maybe 20-30 minutes. But yeah. Anyways, now that we're done objects, we're going to move right into the DOM and how we're going to be working over there. And I'm going to show you how to use buttons, how to create event listeners to have buttons do things, create forms, and your final project is going to be creating a form. So as we're going through this, try to figure out how you would plan that kind of. So yeah, let's actually before we get into it, I want to give you a small little activity to do with objects right here. So what I want you to do is first, let's go over, and I want you to create an object. Um, let's make it about your favorite food. Okay. So talk about your favorite food. Talk about where you like to get it from. Talk about its price. Talk about so food name, food price, restaurant, and then at the end create a function, and then have the function basically create a sentence with those three things, and then console.log that function, and then yeah. So I'm gonna give you guys a second to go ahead and do that, and yeah. Okay, guys, I'm back. Now let's get into it together. I hope you're able to do it. I don't think it's that hard, but yeah. So let's create our function. I mean our object. We're gonna make the object let save or favorite food, and cut our brackets equal. Okay, now in here we'll create our first item, which is gonna be food name. We clear that as, I don't know, tacos. Food price. Um, let's make this. There we go. And really cheap tacos. And food restaurant. Rest. Now we'll make this, I don't know, Taco Bell. Why not? And then now let's create our little function. So we'll call it my fave food. And so we have function here, and we have our brackets. Now in the function, we're going to be having a return statement. You could have it single line, or you could have it multi-line. I like multi-line because I like having the brackets. It makes the code feel more concise. And so yeah, let's get into this. For the return statement, what we need to do is we'll have to add all three. So we'll do we'll have these, and we'll do my fave food, my favorite food is my favorite food item is my favorite food item is, and then we'll have your space plus tacos. Oh wait, not tacos. This dot tacos plus what else? What is this? It costs we have a plus again. This dot, oh, this is food name, guys. Food name. This dot food price. And then let's add our final thing, which is the food restaurant. Plus I like to get it from plus and this food restaurant, and that should be good. Yeah, that should be good. Okay. Now let's call this, of course. So console.log favorite food dot my fave food with the parentheses, and let's try. So my favorite food item is tacos. It costs $1.25. I like to get it from Taco Bell. Okay. So you can see taco and it are like combined, and that is because there's no space here at that, and I'll relog this. And for food item is tacos. It costs $1.25. I like to get it from Taco Bell. Perfect. So as you can see, this worked out perfectly. And yeah, if you guys weren't able to do this, I would say try rewatching this section, try finding some practice activities online. You know, I always say the more practice, the better. And yeah, and definitely always be following along as we're doing these. Yeah, I feel like it's really helpful. Also, try to, if you can, before we start the next section, think of a project that you want to build, like a website or like an app, a web app, something you want to build with JavaScript. Think about something, even it can be something crazy, like I want to build something like really hard or something like that. And then after we're done this course, I think you'll be able to build at least part of it or a basic version of it. I think so. And yeah, like remember when I was first learning JavaScript, I wanted to make a password manager. And then after finishing, I found I was like thinking, oh my god, it's so hard. When I got into it, I realized it's not that hard. Nothing really is. You just gotta know your stuff. And yeah, so next we're gonna get into DOM manipulation. And yeah, you should get excited. This is probably my favorite part of JavaScript. And yeah, let's get into it. Okay, guys. So what we're gonna do to get our element is we're gonna use something called add event listener. So we replace the element part with whatever we named our element when we grabbed it. So we made the ID element and we made it input. So we'd make input, or we'll do button actually, because we're gonna show you guys that first. So button.addEventListener, and then this is the click whatever event happens. So click is an automatic, is a predetermined JavaScript event. So when you click on the button, this function will run. And I haven't created this yet, so I'm gonna create that. You can change the name of this, by the way, to anything you want. So we're just gonna keep saying my function params, and here we can type in whatever we want to happen. So I'll make an alert right now, and it'll say button has been clicked. Now let's go back, reload, and these files are always a little glitchy, guys. Just give it a second. Okay, let's look at what's happening here. We have a function's being called. What's the problem? Not sure. Okay, let's try something else. Let's console.log. Button has been clicked. Console.log. Now we'll come in here, open up our console, and what's going on? Illegal int token. I don't know what it means, to be honest. That is perfectly regular JavaScript. Oh, I know what happened, guys. It's function my function. Or, yeah, function. There you go. I forgot to add function there. My mistake, guys. Now everything should work. Add event listener of null. Button.add event listener. 1 second, guys. Let's just try the code out. Yeah, this is not working. Let's try one more thing. Let's add this dot add event listener right here. And now we can try this. After removing this, we'll just do this really quickly. And then uncaught type error. Okay guys, I'll be right back and try to fix this issue. I'll be right back. What's up guys, and now we're back and we're getting into the DOM. So this is going to be a smaller section. If you guys do want me to make a full DOM course, I'd be happy to. Let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, let's get into it. We're going to be talking about basic DOM functionality, stuff that I feel like I use the most, really, which is just a couple of things. So, the document object model, that's what DOM stands for. It's basically a tree of how, it's a tree of elements. So when you plot down elements, like there's the body element, and you have, let's say, an H1, like whatever inside of it. These things are all plotted on this tree of elements. And you can manipulate this tree and the data in the tree with JavaScript. So first we're going to start off with a basic button functionality. So we're going to create a button here. And then we're going to have it say click me. There we go. Now we come over here. There we go. We have our button right here. Oh, by the way, I have started live server before starting recording, so just so you guys know, you just have to click. You have to have live server running, and yeah. Anyways, so you have to click me here. Now, let me get rid of all this code. We don't need this. How do we grab that button from our HTML file? Well, we use something called document.getElementById. or document.getElement by class name. So what I would do here is you would create a variable. So const, I'm gonna call this button. You can call it whatever you want, but I'm just gonna call it button. And then it's equal to document dot get element by ID. Yeah, and in here we would put in the ID of the element that we're trying to pick up. So we don't have an ID for our element, so we'll just make one. ID equals button, and then in our HTML file we'll keep it all in double quotes. So ID equals button, ID equals, and bttn button, and now this is with ID. What if you want to use class name? Simple. All you have to do is change this to class name. Class name. I think it's class name. Yeah, it's class name like this. So yeah, but let's change back to ID because we just want to grab that. Get element by ID. Okay, perfect. And we'll make it get element by ID. Yeah, the class name is get elements. Okay, and then what we'll do is we will create a function. So actually, 1 second, guys. So actually, what we can do first is we can try to take more elements out of the DOM. So let's say I want to create I'll create an input tag here as well. And then here I'll make the type, yeah, text is fine. And we'll add a closing tag for that. Let's type in here. We'll type nothing in there actually. What is this? Why do we have two? Oh yeah, the input tag is closing. Okay. There we go. Okay, perfect. Now what we'll do is we'll take this in as well. So const input equals, just to save time, and we'll make the ID in ID equals in. Perfect, guys. I will be right back and I will show you how to create edit listeners. So let's get into it. Okay, guys, so I'm not fully able to understand what the issue was there, but instead of declaring the add event listener separately, we're just going to declare the function inside of the add event listener. So all we have to do for that is we put function here, and then we can have an inline function, basically. So what this function will do is it's gonna go to the document, which is the whole page, then the body of the document, HTML body, and style its background color to red when we click the button. Very simple. Let's try that out. No, we are still having, let me just reload this actually. Listener. Let's try adding some stuff in here, guys. I don't think that should make a difference, to be honest. But yeah, it did not. This is an interesting error. Okay, guys, I'm gonna try doing some more research on this issue, and I'll be back. Guys, so we're back, and I figured out the issue. So it's a really good issue because you run into quite a bit, and fixing it's really simple, but sometimes you just have to understand what it means. So when it says it cannot read the property of event listener of null, it's saying that it can't read this. It doesn't understand what this is because when we create this button, it doesn't know what this is. And why is that? The script tag in our index file is before these two items are created. Now this is really funny, right? That's why the best practice whenever anyone makes or works on JavaScript and whenever they're working on their projects, they always have script tag at the bottom. And now if we try this out, boom, works like a charm. So all of our stuff, all of our code would work in this situation. Even the old thing I was showing you with the functions before, you can do that too. I personally like this a little bit better. I've always used this myself, but you can create a put a function separately, completely your choice. But yeah, so now that we have this, let's work on our alert. Oh, and we don't need these. I would have told you guys that I write my code without semicolons. But yeah, this is still gonna work, of course, as you can see. Perfect. Okay, now let's change this up. So, alert, I have been clicked. Boom, I have been clicked. Try that again. Beautiful. And you guys can have multiple ad event listeners for one element, but that's completely your choice. Anyways, what else? Oh, now we're gonna focus on working with the input tag. So on button.click, we wanted to alert input dot value. So the value of the input element. Come here. Hello. Button beside. A button beside. There you go. Works perfectly. And now we can add, because we want this to get cleared each time. Input dot value equals. Don't know if that's gonna work out perfectly. Let's try it. Hello. Yeah, it did work out. Perfect. That's great. Anyways, I'm not gonna be getting into this. Is basically as much as the DOM as we're gonna cover, guys. I don't want to get too much into the DOM because personally, I feel like if you're building UIs and stuff, using regular JavaScript, there is no point. You can get everything done a lot faster using a framework like React or Vue, and I myself personally just love React. So yeah, let me know if you guys want me to make a course about that in the comment section. And yeah, we've hit the end of our journey. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe for more tutorials, of course. And the one thing I really want to stress is even if you don't like the video, don't like it, don't subscribe, it's fine. But definitely recommend stuff you want me to make courses about in the comment section. Tell me, like, maybe you want a React course, maybe you want a SQL course, I don't know, anything, Python, Node.js, whatever you want. Let me know that in the comments, and I will make a course about that. I'll make it as advanced or beginner friendly as you want it. So let me know, and I will do it. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this course. I think it's about 3 hours long, and I hope it's been easy to get you started up in JavaScript. And I'll see you next time.